Okay, guys, I have 10 minutes. I'm listening.
The UAE Horizon 2120 strategic plan aims to achieve foreign direct investment flow of about 5% of its gross national product. In order to achieve that, investment laws and regulations are evolving, which creates an environment more conducive to foreign investors and lower the risk of foreigners. However, current frameworks still favor local over foreign investors. While recently updated UAE laws validate the practice of foreign-owned free zone companies operating onshore, and they permit majority GCC ownership of public joint stock companies. Also, there remains no national treatment for investors in the UAE, and foreign ownership of landed stocks is restricted. Non-tariff barriers to investment persist in the form of restrictive agencies, sponsorship, and distributorship requirements. Google strives to maintain an open culture, often associated with startups, in which everyone is a hands-on contributor and feels comfortable sharing ideas and opinions. That becomes a challenge when the country's labor rights and conditions prohibits both labor unions and worker strikes.
In an environment that favors local over foreign investors, Google outshines its competitor, Etelstat, by 80%. Its competitor's market is only 20%. The firm has a high scale of entry, assuring the UAE they have the leverage and the resources to continue stable business practices. When we talk about the retrieval of information, it only takes Google 8 seconds. Their competitor, it takes them 18 seconds. Google also has a better labeling classification system. Google entered the host country as an internet search engine with the highest level of e-security, reliability, and performance. But Google continues to be on the edge of innovation by perfecting search engines and creating devices. For example, Google is now partnering with Do. This is they're writing a new business plan to boost online presences for small and medium businesses. Currently, there's only 200,000 SMEs in the UAE, but only 10% of them have the online presence. Google is right now creating the Google Glass. The UAE is using that in their law enforcement, with the law enforcement. And what they do is they video accidents, and those reports go to their office and it creates a report. Google also has the phone that has a longer battery life, and the information to retrieve photos is much faster. Google's biggest challenge comes from the UAE unwillingness to soften its censorship.
The problem that Google is facing is the internet censorship, which literally means internet control. The TRA, which is the Telecom Regulatory Authorities, decides that internet censorship policy in the UAE, not the telecom companies, Etisalat and then Du. Although many residents feel like Etisalat in particular is the decider or what is not allowed. This perception is possibly because there are some areas in Du telecom network that have no or less censorship on the internet. For example, Dubai Media Zone and the TCOM area. The TRA has said in 2008 and 2009 that these areas will have to come under the censorship policy though. For the most part, internet censorship is not overly draconian in the UAE. Certainly much less than than somewhere in China or Iran, for example. It will be real that any news is censored, even news critical of the UAE. The filtering policy concentrates more on pornography, dating, gambling, and other culturally or religiously offensive internet content. For many families, the blocking of porn might be seen as a plus when considering a move to the UAE. And those who are desperately want to access the blocked websites usually find a way, eventually using the VPN, which gives them the access to get into the internet. Most of the time, a message will appear when a website is blocked. That makes it clear that the UAE authorities have blocked the sites. Occasionally though, either a blank page or network error type message will appear, leaving viewers confused, or there really is a problem with the website. It is not clear why the UAE telecom companies and telecom authorities are reluctant to let customers know about the internet filtering for some sites. Some of the problems that, some of the places that the content that they block may include but not limited to things that contradict with the ethics and morals of the UAE, including nudity and dating. The internet content that contains material which expresses hate to religion. That is not in line with the UAE laws and those that allow or assist users to block contents. Internet contents that directly or indirectly constitute a risk on UAE internet users, such as phishing websites, hacking tools, and spywares. Internet content that is relevant to gambling, and some that provide information on purchasing, manufacturing, promoting, and using illegal drugs. One example that I'll throw in there will be University of Middlesex, which is in United Kingdom. They were not allowed to visit that website because of the sex that ends the university's name. Right now it has been opened and been given the chance.
When it comes to the censorship, you really have to take things in perspective. Material that are being censored in the internet in the UAE is represent only 15% of what users research on the internet. The other 85% is mostly about what movies are coming out, issues that are happening in different countries, issues related to the people who constitute the UAE market. Why am I saying that? Is because 90% of people living in the UAE, and especially in free zone areas such as Dubai, are expatriate. So those people will research about what's going on in the country. Material that are being censored, again, represent only 15%. And it's really aligned with the fact that we are in an Islamic country. So researching about pornography, gambling, and even topics that are offensive to or profanity to the Prophet of Islam will be rightfully censored. Now, Google receives about 700 items from the TRA of things that they would like to get censored. Now, it's to Google discretion to realize, to classify if these information need to be censored or if they are not really relevant to and also in respect to the Islamic value of the country. Another part of something that we found very interesting was the relationship between men and women in the workplace. Do not interact publicly with men unless they are probably their son or husband. Now, in Google UAE headquarters, women do cover themselves if they want to. Interaction with men are not mandatory. For example, the head of HR is a man, and certain women had expressed concern as to working with him or having to have one-on-one meetings. But the company did, they appointed a female counterpart that wouldn't be able to meet with those women, exchange information, or discuss matter, and if need be, report to the head of the HR. By doing these, those accommodations, Google still respect its culture, it's being, the culture that they have, worldwide, with the employee, where everybody has a voice, everybody can participate in the growth and the everyday life of the company without feeling, that their opinion or their belief is not respected. Google also tapped in the UAE. Google operates out of a free zone. What is a free zone? A free zone is an area that has been designated by the government when mostly, in the case of the UAE, the rules of ownership as 49% of ownership of the company has to include a local firm. Free zones are exempt from those rules. So companies operating in free zone can basically own 100% of their company. They can also forget about certain rules and regulations that are implied in the country. It's very important for the country like the UAE to have those free zones, because as the second recipient of FDI in the Asian region, if they want to keep and increase and also move toward the Horizon 2021 to achieve FDI flow of 5% of the GDP, it's really, really a good thing for the country to have those free zones and allow companies that want to invest there to realize, well, I can't go without losing myself in the process. Google is a very big company, and having them there also called different big internet firms such as Amazon, YouTube, to also realize that, well, the UAE, yes, they have censorship, they have human rights issues, but free zone allow you and our way around all these restrictions, and will permit you to enter a market that's really, really, really great. So thank you for listening, and we hope that you were able to get all the information that you need, and you can now make an educated decision.
Okay, thank you. Good job.